7 assassinations. 7 assassinations. In the Middle East, 7 leaders, prime ministers, and presidents were assassinated since 1948. Did you know that? My whole life, I thought leaders were killed because they wanted war, because they wanted destruction, because they wanted chaos. Oh, I was so wrong. I did more research, and this is a true story, and I found out that 6 out of the 7 leaders were assassinated because they wanted peace. 6 out of 7 because they wanted to end war. 3 in Lebanon, 1 in Egypt, 1 in Jordan, 1 in Israel. It's not popular to want peace. In fact, it's very risky. In the Middle East, the first person to die is the person that wants us, Jews and Muslims, to live together in peace. And the first person to be glorified is the one that wants revenge, justice, and war. This is not just my opinion. This is data from the last 75 years. That's why today I came all the way here to New York, not to address you, the 3,000 Americans who are sitting in front of me today. No, you guys are great. I came here to address the person watching this on the internet, the person in their bed on YouTube, late at night, alone, watching this in Sudan, in Pakistan, in Ukraine, Russia, Israel, and Palestine. I am dedicating this speech to them. I call them the peacemakers. The peacemakers. The ones who are fighting for tolerance, for coexistence, for long-term peace. If my data is right, and if my hunch is right, and it is right, then these peacemakers are now feeling a lot of stuff. They're feeling sadness, despair, but most likely, they are feeling lonely. Why wouldn't they be? Whenever there is conflict, peacemakers feel lonely. I know this feeling because I felt it too. And I want to share with you what keeps me going. I hope it helps. My name is Nusair Yassin. I was born and raised in Israel as a Palestinian. This is a background I do not recommend on my worst enemy. Israeli citizen, but Palestinian origin, you are born a controversy. Part of me wishes I was born in Denmark instead, with blonde hair and blue eyes, like you, and you. But I wasn't. I was born in northern Israel with this face. And ever since I was a kid in the village, I was confronted since day one with conflict and hatred. Everyone around me who spoke Hebrew hated the Arabs. Everyone who spoke Arabic hated the Jews. But that did not make sense. I never believed in hate. I always believed in peace, tolerance, and coexistence, even as a child. I think I got these crazy, controversial ideas from my dad. So thank you, Dad. 15 years later, I came to the United States with the same ideas and started Nas Daily, one of the largest social media companies with tens of millions of followers and a strong team of 100. I ran it for 8 years under one mission: bring people together. That's it. And then October 7th happened. The world changed. Everything became upside down. Bring people together? Get out of here. It's time to get justice. It's time to kill or be killed. It's not the time for together. It's time to destroy the other, especially if they're Jewish or Palestinian. So I did what we always do: remind people that coexistence is the only solution. My Jewish partner Alex and I created a video to promote Jewish and Muslim tolerance and coexistence. to call for two states for two people, for peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians, who are equally indigenous, who are both here to stay. But that message, that exact message, is not popular. Remember the number I shared above? 6 assassinations. It is not popular to call for peace, whether you're a leader or a follower or a silly YouTuber, especially at times of war. And I felt that on my own skin. Immediately after our message, I lost a $1 million deal. I lost 10 friends and created 10 million haters. That was the price I paid, and I was willing to pay it. And I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one paying the price. To the person watching this on the internet, through these cameras, the peacemakers, the ones who feel lonely today, you can relate, because you pay a price too. Every time you speak up, someone tells you to shut up. Every time you think we shouldn't fight, someone tells you that we should. But something inside of you tells you to keep going. Something inside of me tells me to do that too. What is that thing? Why do we keep going when this stuff is so hard? Why don't we just chill at a beach in Mexico and do makeup videos and drink cocktails? I think I found the answer in a religion I recently studied. It's all the way in India, in Hinduism. In Hinduism, they believe in the concept of dharma. They believe each one of us is born with a responsibility, a duty, an obligation to this world. If you are alive on this planet, you have a responsibility to do what you are born to do, no matter what. My dharma is to bring people together. The doctor's dharma is to heal people. Your dharma, the peacemaker, your dharma is to bring peace and work towards peace. This obligation is so important because you cannot avoid it. Here is an example. There was a Hindu priest sitting by the river. He saw a scorpion drown. A scorpion drowned. He picked it up in order to save it. But then it stung him. So he dropped it back in the water. The scorpion started drowning again. So he picked it up again. And it stung him again and again. And he kept doing this again and again and again. Someone watching this from the sidelines said, "Priest, what the hell are you doing? Why do you keep saving the scorpion when it will only sting you?" The priest smiled and said, "The scorpion's dharma is to sting. That's what it's born to do. But my dharma as a human is to save. This is what I will continue to do." As peacemakers, our dharma is to promote coexistence, fight anti-Semitism, fight hatred wherever we see it, even if we get stung, even if we get pushback, even if we lose $1 million deals. We must continue our work because that is our dharma. That is our obligation in this world. I'm not Hindu, but I believe in dharma. And I know Daniel Pearl did that too. The biggest example of this, the guy whose name is on this award. His obligation in this world was to bring people together. Unfortunately, he paid the ultimate price for his work. And I'm here today because of him, to continue his dharma and mine. Dear peacemakers, we all pay a price for speaking up. But if you notice, we have no option but to speak up. It doesn't mean we're not afraid. I am super afraid. Every time I say the I word or the P word, Israel or Palestine, I get afraid. Courage does not mean you're not scared or afraid. Courage means you are scared. You know the price you're going to pay. You know the consequences of what you're going to do, but you're willing to do it anyway. That's the definition of courage. To the peacemakers, whether in Ukraine and Russia, Israel or Palestine, remember that the world is divided into two worlds. Short-term world, long-term world. In the short term, the world will make you pay a heavy price and feel lonely. But in the long term, the world will bend towards you. It will bend towards coexistence. I believe in that. Because I am Israeli and Palestinian, I saw a glimpse of the future. I saw coexistence and lived it. I saw my Palestinian mother and father who hosted 30 Jewish people in their home like they are one big family. I saw my Jewish American friends in Ohio, the Jacobs family, who hosted me in their home 15 years ago. And because of them, I got into Harvard and came to America. That's the future I want to work towards. In the long term, we will wake up and thank the peacemakers, the ones watching this on their phone right now late at night, the ones feeling lonely today. Your work will pay off in the long term. That coexistence dinner you hosted, it will pay off. That peace camp you advocate for, it will pay off. That rational post you made on Twitter, I'm not sure anyone saw that because it's Twitter, so maybe that will not pay off. For those that are still not convinced, I want to leave you with one last story. Also a true story. This time not from India, but from Japan. I went to Japan specifically to visit two cities. The only two cities in the world where nuclear weapons were used: Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The US dropped 2 nuclear weapons in 1945, and just like that, more than 200,000 people vanished. The two cities were wiped out. When I landed in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I immediately started crying. The history is too heavy. The suffering is too great. That's why I expected to see a lot of angry Japanese people. People angry at America, angry at war, people who want revenge and justice. It only makes sense. But here is what surprised me. I went around Hiroshima and Nagasaki looking for people who hate America, and I could not find any. Even nuclear attack survivors don't hate America. They don't hate because, according to them, peace does not flow from hate. And peace is what they want. 77 years later, today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki are fully rebuilt. And in those two cities, there is a museum to remember the past. You would expect the museum to be called the War Museum, the Tragedy Museum, the Anger Museum. But you know what they called it instead? The Hiroshima Peace Museum. We can't forget our past, but we can choose not to continue the past, the hate and the anger. If you still doubt peacemakers, then look at the US and Japan, look at Israel and Germany, look at how far nations can come in just one generation. Today, we still don't have peace between Ukraine and Russia, Israel and Palestine, Jews and Muslims, India and Pakistan. Today is the short run. But remember, if we continue our work, the long run is different. In the short run, we lose, we die, we get assassinated, we get lonely and afraid. But in the long run, I am convinced we win. We can end conflicts, we can end hate, and we can bring peace to this world. After all, this is what we are born to do. Thank you.